Welcome to CSC Movie Recaps. Today we will go over the sci-fi epic, The Wandering Earth. The story takes place in the year 2061. The Sun is undergoing a phase of fast deterioration and will soon become a red giant. Within a century, this poses a threat to envelop Earth's orbit, destroying the blue planet in the process. Human civilization has undergone a significant transformation in order to survive the destruction of Earth. All nations on the planet have united to form the United Earth Government, UEG, after putting their differences aside. Since then, the UEG has embarked on a daring project known as the Wandering Earth Project. The plan is to drive the Earth to its new home, Alpha Centauri, which is a gravitationally bound system of stars and planets similar to our solar system. It is 4.37 light-years away from the Sun. The Earth's journey to this new solar system is expected to take about 20 years. Furthermore, the project has deployed 12,000 massive fusion-powered Earth engines built across the northern hemisphere. It has also used torque engines along the equator to slowly propel the entire planet Earth out of its original orbit. At the beginning of the film, an astronaut named Liu Cixin supervises Earth's gravitational slingshot maneuver, which uses Jupiter's gravity to assist propulsion. Cixin departs for his next mission to the navigation platform, an international space station, leaving behind his young son Liu Cixin and foster daughter Han Duo. Liu's job aboard the navigation is to assist the Earth in its interstellar journey. After several years, many people have died as a result of multiple violent natural disasters. This includes enormous tsunamis that happen after the Earth's rotation is stopped. Moreover, the majority of the planet's surface freezes solid as it moves farther away from the Sun. The remaining people are consequently compelled to dwell in huge underground cities constructed next to and underneath the several Earth engines. It is the new year of 2078, 17 years later, and Cixin and his co-workers are getting ready to leave the International Space Station after ending their duties there. Liu Cixin, Cixin's kid, has matured into an adult in other places. He is a big truck machine operator. Liu Cixin, like most of the remaining people who now reside underground, hardly ever has the opportunity to observe life on the Earth's surface. He's always wanted to ride on the surface of the world, but the disastrous environment makes that practically impossible. Yet, he makes the decision one day to pursue his dream no matter what. He gets 2 thermal suits and false identifications illegally. Liu Cixin gives some local thugs some special instant inflatable bubble capsules, so he may see for himself what life is like on the surface. He also brings Han Duo, his younger sister, along to assist him in stealing a truck's key and their grandfather Han's clearance pass. Xiang appears to be employed by the Wandering Earth Project as a driver. When Liu Cixin and his sister eventually make it to the surface, they are astounded by the enormous Earth engine construction, one of the 12,000 structures dispersed all across the planet. They then drive around in Han Xiang's huge cargo vehicle that they have unlawfully taken possession of. As a new driver, Liu Cixin initially drives very poorly and nearly causes an accident, but he quickly gets the feel of it and drives confidently. But, the brother and sister team is soon apprehended at a neighboring checkpoint and imprisoned. Their grandpa Han Xiang learns of the situation and comes to their aid. He tries to bribe the jail warden in order to have his grandchildren released, but he ends up in the same cell as his grandchildren. Meanwhile, Cixin is preparing to return to Earth from the space station. It's his last shift, and it's also the day the Earth is supposed to glide past Jupiter and accelerate to the necessary speed to leave the solar system. However, things do not go as planned, and as Earth approaches Jupiter to use its gravity assist, Jupiter's gravity unexpectedly becomes irregular. The increase in tidal force causes devastating earthquakes on Earth, rendering many Earth engines inoperable. As a result, some underground cities are crushed, while others are drowned by lava, killing hundreds. To make matters worse, Jupiter begins to exert enormous gravitational force on Earth. This means that the two planets are about to collide. Despite the chaos, Liu Qi, his sister, and Han Xiang manage to escape the prison with Tim, another inmate. After exiting, Xiang locates his heavy truck, loads his grandchildren and Tim inside, and begins driving like a pro. On the way, he avoids large buildings, rocks, and other obstacles. Xiang's plan is to transport everyone to a different underground city. Elsewhere, as the navigation platform approaches Earth, the MOS, the space station's main computer AI, warns everyone that the space station will soon enter low-energy mode, and that everyone should go into hibernation. Peiqiang, who is adamant about meeting his family, requests time and calls his father, Han Xiang. He learns about their imprisonment and the subsequent earthquakes while on the phone. When he discovers that his family is a truck, he directs them to the nearest bunker. He then returns to his quarters and prepares to hibernate. Han Xiang's truck, on the other hand, is intercepted by a rescue team of elite soldiers led by Captain Wang Lei on an emergency mission. They demand that the truck transport a valuable cargo known as lighter core, which can allegedly be used to ignite the Earth engines. They intend to restart the 01 Earth engine in Hangzhou using the lighter core. Han Xiang, as expected, is unhappy with the order, but he is forced to comply. Peiqiang soon learns of the new development and requests that Wang Lei allow his family to enter a bunker. However, the latter responds that he will only let them go if Han Xiang assists them in completing their mission. Han Xiang is forced to drive them to Shanghai, where a massive tremor has ripped open a large gap, revealing the old city covered in ice. Han Xiang tells stories about his city memories as the truck drives into the gap. In a flashback, thousands of people are shown frozen solid in the ice, and it is revealed that Liu Qi's sister was one of the few survivors, who was adopted by Han Xiang. As the old man continues to tell the story, a second tremor strikes, and the cliffs on both sides of the gap begin to collapse. Everyone gets out of their cars and rushes to Shanghai's tallest building. Unfortunately, the group's devastation has only just begun. Everything starts moving violently as they climb through the building. They try to use the lighter core to get to a safe location, but things don't go as planned. The team loses a soldier due to the strong tremors, while Han Xiang is isolated on a different floor. When the old man realizes his oxygen supply is running low, he opens his helmet and freezes to death. In the following scene, Liu Qi confronts Wang Lei and accuses him of being responsible for his grandfather's death. He also strikes the captain in a fit of wrath but is quickly defeated. Liu Qi announces his decision to leave the assignment following the altercation. With no other option, the elite team marches toward the Earth engine in Hangzhou as Liu Qi, his sister, and Tim begin their journey back home. They carry the lighter core individually. Peiqiang learns from Moss that his family is missing and that the world has descended into new chaos at another location on board the space station shortly after the hibernation program begins. They are no longer traveling to Earth since, according to the AI, it cannot be saved. Moss has now given priority to a new mission. Instead of assisting Earth, the station intends to act as an interstellar ark, seeding a new planet with Earth's biosphere. They intend to send a select group of people, crops, and other items to the new planet so that Earth's legacy can live on in perpetuity. Peiqiang becomes enraged upon hearing this and refuses to give up on Earth. He then tries to break free from the forced hibernation, but Moss intervenes and wakes up the rest of the team to correct the situation. Surprisingly, a Russian teammate named Makarov decides to assist Peiqiang. The two then blow open the nearest hatch and fly out into the vacuum. Makarov sacrifices himself to get to the control center, pushing Peiqiang toward a moving arm. Fortunately, the plan succeeds, and Peiqiang gains control of the control center. Back on Earth, Liu Qi and his companions discover a crashed plane with an intact truck. Inside, they meet the lone survivor, Li, a mad genius. He informs them that Jupiter's gravity is sucking Earth's atmosphere to the point where the air is too thin to fly a plane. He also tells the group that the people on Earth may still have hope. But first, they must rescue a massive torque engine in Sulawesi, near the equator. Hearing this, Liu Cixin becomes enraged, but first decides to save the Earth engine in Hangzhou. Pei-Qiong enters the space station's computer room and attempts to override Moss, but the AI informs him that it is simply carrying out orders authorized by the United Earth government. Meanwhile, outside of Hangzhou, the elite team discovers that the entire city has been consumed by lava. The Earth engine there is irreparably damaged. Soon after, another man dies in the mission, and the team begins to consider whether or not to continue the mission. In a fit of rage, a female soldier shoots at the lighter core, shattering it, prompting the captain to almost kill her. Liu Cixin and his group arrive in the truck just then, and Liu Cixin informs the elite team about the torque engine on Sulawesi. This piques Wang Lei's interest, and he agrees to assist Liu Cixin and his group on their mission to Sulawesi. When they are almost to Sulawesi, they discover that other teams have successfully repaired the engines before them. However, as Earth approaches Jupiter's Roche limit, the combined thrust of the engines is no longer able to divert the trajectory. After Moss informs Pei-Qiong that all rescue missions are futile, the space station opens a channel to Earth and broadcasts to everyone that they have only 7 days before the Earth is ripped apart. After hearing the bad news, Liu Cixin is devastated and reveals that they only have 1 day to live because Jupiter is sucking their air at an alarming rate. Later, as a heartbroken Liu Cixin stares at the massive planet, an idea strikes him. Because Jupiter is 90% hydrogen and has been sucking a lot of oxygen from Earth recently, a tiny spark can ignite the entire planet. Earth can be blown away to a safe distance by the impact of the ignition. Liu Cixin immediately shares his plan with the genius, who, surprisingly, approves. They eventually hack the Sulawesi engine and focus its power to fire a plasma beam tall enough to ignite Jupiter. The group overcomes various obstacles and is able to reconfigure the engine to carry out the plan, but they are unable to ignite the engine by pushing the firing pin. With no other options, the captain, Wang Lei, contacts nearby rescue workers for assistance. Just then, Han Duoduo, Liu Qi's sister, realizes she can make an emergency call to the space station and request her father's assistance. She contacts Pei-Qiong and informs him of the plan, but Moss reveals that some Israeli scientists had this idea first, and the chances of success are nil. Nonetheless, Pei-Qiong continues to call the UEG and request authorization. The UEG refuses to send in reinforcements, but Duoduo is allowed to broadcast her message to the remaining rescuers. With this opportunity, the young girl gives an emotional speech that touches the hearts of people all over the world. In no time, several rescuers arrive on the scene and begin assisting the group in pushing the massive pin. Liu Cixin finally gets the machine unstuck in the following scene. Except for the launch program, everything is now ready. The main technician, is severely injured by falling rocks, but he still manages to insert the correct cable into the socket. At long last, the program is uploaded. The torque engine fires a straight red light toward Jupiter's giant eye, but the power cannot reach the ignition area. It is only 5,000 kilometers long. Pei-Qiong, who is also present, suddenly recalls that his space station has 30,000 tons of fuel, which, if ignited, should generate a 5,000-kilometer flame. He informs Moss of the plan, but the AI declines and instead locks the system. Pei-Qiong, enraged, burns the main computer and takes command of the space station. He then accelerates towards Jupiter and collides. Jupiter's atmosphere quickly begins to burn, and the impact pushes Earth away. Unfortunately, the impact also generates massive impact waves, which begin ravaging Earth. Liu Cixin discovers his sister with Tim in the midst of the chaos. The impact wave then hits, sending everyone flying. Tim is holding onto a pipe, but when Liu Cixin notices his sister falling, he falls toward her. He heroically catches her in the air and deploys an instant bubble capsule, saving both of their lives. The fall, however, breaks Liu's helmet, and he slowly passes out. Before closing his eyes, he notices that the Earth has survived the ordeal. The film then jumps ahead 3 years, where Liu Cixin has become a driver and has earned everyone's respect. Furthermore, the engines have been restarted, and humanity is on the right track to reclaiming its former glory.